Hey everybody, it's Galmadex, and welcome back to another premiere draft of Pioneer Masters with that Devotion bonus sheet. We are stuck in that limbo still, where this is a set that's already done with its competitive format. We're just waiting for Aether Drift spoilers, which start up on Tuesday. We are so close, but you know what? I'm not locked in here with Pioneer Masters. It's locked in here with me. We're gonna do crazy nonsense like mono white Heliod. Let's go. We are done with competitive season, so I have just been trying to do whatever nonsense I can that looks fun, and Heliod looks super fun. We'll go with the Liev Sky Knight here now for Azorius. That's a pretty powerful deck. Obviously, we want to lean a lot heavier to the white than the blue so that we have a really high devotion to white. Make sure we have a bunch of white mana symbols on the board so we might be able to actually attack with the Heliod. Plus, that's going to make the activated double white and 2 ability a lot more consistent. So I like the Sky Knight here quite a lot. And I'm not going to overthink things here. Competitive season is over. Ooh, pick 3 Thunderclap Wyvern to just lock right on into blue-white flyers and be pretty happy. This is a moderately difficult pick, though, because the Phalanx Leader is 2 white symbols for Heliod and just a great white spell in general. Great card for any white aggro deck in the format. There's plenty of ways to trigger Heroic, even if you're not Boros. I'm gonna lock in on the Flyers. I feel like Thunderclap Wyvern, like curving out Sky Knight into Wyvern is just gross. Pick number 4. Wow, the triplicate spirits to go with the Thunderclap Wyvern. That's also super gross. Sending the Sky Knight is a bit of a signal for other players to potentially hop into blue-white, but I think triplicate spirits is a much higher ceiling, much higher upside in the right position than Sky Knight. Card is brutal with anything that buffs the whole board, and Wyvern is already a card that does that. Pick 5, we have a Selene Vision, we have a Ghostblade Eidolon. Neither of those are great for this deck, but the best cards in this pack are a green card and a black card, I guess. Maybe Angler. It's tied with Screecher. Speculate on Rakdos Guildgate, but I highly, highly doubt I'm hopping off of our current game plan. So I'm just going to grab the white permanents, add to our devotion to Heliod. Pick 6, we've got a fine little flyer with the Nimbus Naiad. We're obviously not in the most open colors ever, but I think it's worth it for the Heliod and the Sky Knight plus Wyvern combo to just stick to where we're at. We have such powerful reasons to be in this color pair that we're not like trying to move over to Golgari or something for this Catacomb Sifter. Pick 7. This is a really good pack. I mean, a Rimrock Knight pick 7 is incredible for red aggro. We could actually slightly move towards Boros here and still use all these white spells. I think Heliod, Ghostblade Eidolon, and Triplicate Spirits would all play perfectly fine in the Boros deck, but it's also still a really strong blue card. Scatter to the Winds, 3 mana to counter a spell is an okay rate. If you have this in the late game as your top deck, then it becomes a very good counter spell. Counter something and get a 3/3. So I'm really happy to see that late. There's also Possess Scab, which would be great off the splash. Just a really strong pack in general. Scab, Knight, and Scatter all being excellent. Oops. Excellent cards. Pick 8, here's a Dimir Guildgate in case we see more Scabs later. We could also go for a Martial Glory again for a potential like Boros pivot here, but we're way too locked in for a full like Golgari pivot. Pick 9, Dwyer Disruption will play perfectly fine in here. Pick 10, there's a Windrider Patrol, just a random flyer to top off the curve in our blue-white flyers deck. Things look solid here. I like treating Triplicate Spirits as about a 4-drop, since it has that Convoke to cast it for cheaper. Generally, you're casting this around turn 4 for around 4 mana. Especially if you have Vigilant creatures, that makes it really, really gross. You get to attack in and still tap your creatures to help cast it. Alright, pick 11 Keening Apparition, not horrible. Get our first 2 mana creature. We definitely want a good amount of 2 mana creatures, not just for being an aggressive deck that wants to curve out, but also for the Convoke on Triplicate Spirits. It's pretty important to be able to go 2-drop, 3-drop, Convoke this turn 4. Ooh, that is exactly what we want to see. The Sky Knight comeback, pick 12 alongside a Guildgate. Wild stuff. I'm gonna go for the Sky Knight here, again with Heliod really incentivizing us to be super deep on the white. I'm hoping that I can go for like a 10-7 split with like 10 plains and 7 islands and end up cutting Wind Rider Patrol for sure. Scattered to the Winds we can treat as a 6 mana double blue spell. So if we keep blue to just a few cards that mostly require a single blue source, we probably won't need fixing too badly because we can make our mana base pretty consistent off of just a majority white spells and then just some easy to cast single blue spells. I feel like the Sky Knight into Wyvern curve outs are just super powerful. I mean, Sky Knight's just so great in a Flyers deck, generically. Mizium Skin's even playable. Literally every card we took is playable here, because I could take Aetherios now, since I got the Dimir Guildgate or the Possessed Scab here. I mean, the only on-color cards are Sajiri Shelter and Consider, so I really don't think there's a huge reason to stick to our colors on this instead of taking a spicier pick like the Aetherios or the Possessed Scab. I actually don't know how to say this. It's probably Aetherios, maybe Aetherios. I don't know. Seems decent. You need a lot of devotion to black or white. You need 5 other white mana symbols among permanents. Whenever another creature you own dies, return it to your hand unless the opponent pays 3. So whenever a creature dies, your opponent pays 3. It's not insane, actually. It's a lot cooler than Possessed Scab, though. I've played a lot of Possessed Scabs already, so I'll take the Aetherios. It's part of the Devotion bonus sheet. We have much less opportunity to play with that. Pick 2, another Thunderclap Wyvern. I could take the Cloudfin Raptor and try to wheel the Wyvern. I mean, we got Sky Knight pick 13. There was a Sky Knight and a Guildgate pick 13. This Wyvern should 100% wheel. You never know. There's always something crazy that could happen. Maybe somebody needs a copy for their collection specifically for their random blue-white Flyers deck. So there's always a risk to trying to wheel it, especially in a non-competitive event on like Arena. That's where people could really just randomly rare draft this. And it's like so insanely strong in this deck with the triplicate spirits. I'm going to try to wheel it anyway. I'm taking Cloudfin Raptor. I feel like all things considered, it 100% should wheel. So I'm going to try to do that. We're super low on interaction, so Gust of Wind is quite a high pick here. 2 mana to bounce a non-land permanent draw card is insane, and that is going to be pretty consistent in this deck. That's the mana cost when we have a flyer on board. Another Scatter to the Winds, Trailblazer, Essence Scatter, and Wingsteed Rider. Even the Syndicate Messenger, I mean, these are all really solid. Probably not Trailblazer, we're not doing a lot of heroic. And also, I'm not doing a lot of heroic for Wingsteed Rider, but it is double white with our Heliod, which makes it a little appealing. Helps us lean deeper into the white than taking another blue spell here. I'm going to take the Wingsteed Rider. Like, I wanted to lean a lot deeper into white than blue, and then we really haven't been working on that. So let's actually put some work towards that white devotion off of this pick. Because currently it's almost impossible to have an active Heliod with the amount of white permanents we have. And that might just have to be the case. It looks like there's not going to be a ton of white spells getting passed around. Maybe pack 3 can hook us up. We can take a Pilgrim's Eye to help get a black source. For our Aetherios, we could get a Scab to also splash in, or we could just take Kabira Takedown, which is what I am leaning towards here. Just get to run this over plains, get flooded less often, and have another removal spell. Looks pretty fine. I don't usually like cutting these 1-for-1 for basic lands. Like if I have 3 of these flip cards, I'm cool to cut like 2 basics. And if I have like a million of them, I usually go like cut 1 basic for every 2 flip land I have so that I can just play them as spells sometimes. I'm slightly interested in taking Hero Viroas here. We found the white permanents. Wow, what a Boros pod, by the way. Gearcrafter, Rimrock as well. Even Ordeal. Yeah, I'm really tempted to take the hero. Cloudfin Raptor really wants us to curve out and go Cloudfin 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop. We've got pretty low 2-drops for that. We have 2 actual creatures there. Plus, we want just more white creatures throughout the curve instead of just clumping everything up at 3. Here's Archaeologist. I probably won't run, but it is a pretty good card. It's just much better for slower decks. I guess it would actually run perfectly fine in here. We can play a bunch of flyers and then just clutter up the ground with this Archaeologist. The 0/3 or the 1/4 body. Seems reasonable. We've got enough non-creature spells for it right now, and it does get a lot better when you have the flip lands, because these are all like lands I could draw off of it if I need a land. And I see one of these. Pick 8. I actually think the Illusory Angel looks kind of sick. I've not been able to play an Illusory Angel deck before, but if you draft like a few good 1 and 2 mana cards, this becomes a really, really strong flyer later in the game. Turn 4, you play a 1-drop in this, or turn 5, play a 2-drop in this. It's a very bad top deck, which is concerning, but at the right time, I think it's pretty absurd. And here's a really good 1-drop to go with it. Consider is going to make that a lot easier to cast, potentially. And here's going to be our pick 9, where we see if we wield the Thunderclap Wyvern, I believe. Fingers crossed. Who passes a pick 13 Sky Knight and then takes the Wyvern? I'm so mad now. But there was a guild gate in the same pack, so the pack always had a backup plan for us. But that's so disappointing because of how good the Wyvern is with the triplicate spirits. I feel like this deck is looking better without the Aetherios here. So we did not spend any more picks on fixing yet. But we'll see how the last pack goes. There might be some good guild gates for it. Should take a scatter over another 4-drop. Some more ways to deal with opposing threats if I have that at the right time. Frostburn Weird I can technically play in here as a double blue card, but that's pretty hard to cast. On turn 2. Ooh, Linvala's kind of perfect. That's a pretty easy slam dunk pick. Sure, yeah, top end flyer. If we are behind in life total, we gain 5 life. If we're behind in creatures, we get a 3/3 Flying Angel. Obviously, 6 mana, 5/5 flyer, gain 5 life, get a 3/3 flyer as well, is an absurd rate. So if you're behind, Linvala is incredible. Splash in a Cruelty, or just main deck the Gust of Wind in our core color. I'd rather just take something for the core color. If your deck's aggressive enough with enough evasive threats like ours is, then I really don't think you need too much like permanent removal. You can use the tempo stuff like this and just kill your opponent before they really get attacking with their best threats again. Take the Sky Knight over Apparition. Apparition's a super, super filler 2-drop, and Sky Knight's an excellent 3-drop. As much as I do need more 2-drops on the curve. All right, we're never passing Wyvern again. We could have been a 3 Wyvern deck, but somebody wanted to be rude. Sajiri Shelter, another spell land looks good. I could take the Pilgrim's guy towards the Aetherios, but I think this deck has enough powerful spicy stuff going for it to not be trying to splash another color. Got all 4 of these spell lands. Cut the Mizium Scan. I've got the Shelter doing very similar. And much more. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lands. This is 23 non-lands and 17 lands right now. If I cut basics 1-for-1 for these, which I don't really want to do. You hold down the Alt key, see if there's anything I need for my collection. There is a Quicken. That's really not that exciting. I'll speculate on maybe I want to run 2 Skirmishers in this deck. Pick 7, Saloni Vision, Jessian Thief. I don't think we have room for Jessian Thief. We just have better 3-drops. I mean, just the double Wingsteed, triple Sky Knight alone are hogging the 3-drop slot, so we'll take the Vision. So many spell lands. Take a Vision, so many spell lands. Yep. We get to run like 12 basics or something in this deck. 12 basics and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tap lands. It's like a 12 to 19 land deck. That's a lot of tap lands for an aggressive deck, though. Strong as Scatter is, I still want great cards to work with the Illusory Angel. No, Scatter's just strong enough. I'm going to take it over Consider, even though Consider goes great with the Illusory Angel, like I was saying. We'll just do a 2-drop into the Angel. Heliod really didn't pan out here. It does feel like blue was certainly quite a bit more open than the white, and we just have a lot more blue spells in general. I can still cut towards white and blue being somewhat even, maybe even white being favored in the deck, but not enough to where Heliod's going to be active super often. Heliod's still 100% worth running. We've got the absurd activated ability, getting a 2/1 for 4 mana, just doing that as an incredible mana sink. And our whole board has Vigilance as long as Heliod's on board as well, but I just don't expect Heliod to be a creature too often. Pick 10, another Skirmisher? No, I'll take Evolving Wilds. I mean, I already have so many tap lands, but the fixing towards double blue or double white is exciting, is useful. Rare draft, change to the rocks. Another Dwari Disruption or the Essence Scatter, just because it's funny. All spell lands, all day. I'm not going to run this Pilgrim's Eye. Just rare draft an uncommon for faster vault progress. Okay. No one likes spell lands in this draft bod. 49 cards in this deck if I run 17 lands. But I have those 17 lands plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 spell lands. I feel like I can cut like 4 basics at least for those 7. Yeah, we'll cut 4 basics for these 7. 1, 2, 8, 13 plus those. So cut 5 cards now. See where these lie on the curve. 18 creatures. Plus Triplicate Spirits is like 19 creatures. Cut like 4 of them and still be pretty aggressive. Kind of giving up on the Heliod Devotion plan where the Wingsteed Riders are actually some of the most mediocre 3-drops because we're not a super heroic focused deck. We have 1 Sejiri Shelter for heroic. Maybe even Hero of Iroas then, if I'm just giving up on Heliod's Devotion and just using him for the activated abilities. Yeah, I could see just dropping all these, focusing up on the blue creatures instead. Drop 1 spell. I like all these spells, though. I definitely can't cut a spell land, because it's helping the mana. What is this creature count plus Triplicate Spirits? It's 15. 15. Scatters don't really count as a creature. At 6 mana, we do get a creature out of them, but that's not going to be super often. You know what, I'm going to cut a spell land anyway. Triple Selene Vision feels like just a million. Or I could cut a land. You know what? No, so many spell lands. I'm going to cut a land here. The split is 22 blue cards, 11 white. Probably want to do like a 5-7 split. How many spell lands do we have of each, though? So if we count these as blue and white sources, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11, 12, 13 blue sources, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 white sources. Okay, no, we'll go 5, 5 split, and that'll still be quite a bit favored towards blue. And yeah, it's going to be spicy. 0 lands, all spells. Blue-white flyers, tempo, aggro. Looks like a really sweet deck, so without further ado, let's just hop into gameplay and see how it does. Alright, here we are for game number 1. Got our turn 3 Sky Knights, but we can roll out with the Skirmisher into those. Playing against a Rakdos deck. There's the Palaka Predation. It's like a little annoying. Doesn't matter too much. I got double Sky Knight, so they can't stop my play for next turn. And if they get rid of Linval, I'm still a million mana away from her anyway. So this Predation does not hurt that much. They spend a card to make us ditch a card. It's fine. Salundi Vision. Cool. I am super willing to trade Skirmisher into the Ranger, so I'm not going to Sky Knight pre-combat. Witch's Mark. Make that Ranger a 3/3. Discard a card and draw 2. Ooh, there's Triplicate Spirits. I don't have the mana for that yet. Sky Knight the Ranger. Play a tap land here. I feel like Revealed Dry Disruption is pretty awkward, so I'm going to play that as the tap land. This was from Return to Ravnica, wasn't it? What was the Azorius mechanic in Guilds of Ravnica block? Ravnica Allegiance. If Detain was returned to Ravnica. That is bugging me. Ravnica Allegiance. Azorius. Addendum. Yeah, now I remember. That's why I forgot it. It's super forgettable. They're instants that give you a bonus if you cast them at sorcery speed. You cast them during your main phase. Weird. Yeah, Detain was so much more memorable. Kind of iconic for the Azorius. It's a pretty good draw. Yeah, let's just do that. Oop. This is enough damage to hold off on spirits and just cast Vision here. Ranger is back. But our opponent's at 3 life, facing 2 3-power flyers. Okay, Gift of Dorzava. Now they have a 3/3 lifelinking blocker, so they're barely alive. See if we can find our other Gust of Wind. We did. Sajiri Shelter would also work. Multiple win cons there. But the Gust of Wind does it. We are 1-0 heading into game 2. Alright, here we are for game number 2. Okay, I probably should not have kept this. Something farted in my brain, and I thought this was a 2-lander, not a 1-lander. This is a keepable 2-lander, because then the Archaeologist digs towards all of our spell lands. As a 1-lander, this is still incredibly bold. I swear I thought I saw planes. Alright, we're fine. It's awkward both the lands are tap lands, but that's obviously a really good draw that we hit the mana here. There's a spell land, perfect. Multiple options, doesn't matter which. We're just looking for mana. Oop. Playing against a 5-color Gates deck. We don't see a red source from them so far, but they've got every other color. Guild Summit, don't tap Orzhov Guildgate. They really want to hold up a black or a white for some reason. Don't remember what they could have here, but I'm just gonna level up a Raptor. Maybe they just misclicked. Oh, you know what I can do? Just blow up the Guild Summit so they don't have any card draw from it. I don't know if that's gonna be worth it. If we get like just a really, really aggressive tons of damage start here where like we hit the 4th land for Wyvern, then it's possible that we're just going fast enough we don't care about all their card draw. But I feel like sacking an Apparition to stop them from drawing potentially like 3 to 5 cards throughout this game is pretty worth it. Oh, that's awkward how that interacts. But we don't get the level up. Gates Ablaze? Sure. I'm still ahead in cards after the Gates Ablaze, which is a really, really good sign for us. Yeah, 3/1 flyer is better than a 2/2 flyer, even if there's nothing to detain. I guess it can detain an ingot. That's pretty cool. No mana from your ingot this turn. I am very happy with my choice to blow up their card draw engine with Keening Apparition, because the fact that they had the Gates Ablaze means no matter what, we were not going to be getting the quick kill here. Gust of Wind into Scatter is cute. Sure. Could also triplicate Spirits this turn and hold off on the Scatter. But I like this. Not going to scatter Pilgrim's Eye when they have a 5/5 flyer potentially coming up. Sure, 4/4 flyer is still more than bad enough. Drop the triplicate spirits because I don't want to send my 3/1 flyer into the 1/1 flyer. It's got protection from anything? No. Alright. Manticore is completely broken, but we've got a chance here still. If I gust the Pilgrim Eye, they just have the 4/4. If I Nimbus Naiad up, like Sky Knight and then give it pro green or something, it has 5 power to eat the Chromanticore on a future turn. Guess I just take the hit right now and shelter block next turn. Well, gust plus shelter block. Because if I just shelter block, I kill... Wow. Double Gates Ablaze Chromanticore deck. I guess this game is unwinnable. But yeah, we have to kill the Pilgrim's Eye and the Chromanticore. So if we Gust of Wind the Pilgrim's Eye, the Chromanticore falls off, and then I only have to kill Chromanticore so we can block with a 5/3, give it protection from green or black. But now we can't do that. I don't think we have an out at this point. Chromanticore is just broken. Guess I go to 5 and Vision again. Okay, I'm over it. Gates Ablaze, copy 3. Alright, here we are for game number 3. This is a pretty excellent start. Get our tap plan out of the way, Keening Apparition into Sky Knight, get rolling in for damage. Opponent starts with Dimir Guildgate. Into an island, so probably an actual just like 2-color control deck. Rather than a big gates pile. But we will see. Since they're blue and they could actually have some decent flying blockers, I'm just going to lead with the Naiad and then use the Sky Knight to detain. This also makes them counter a way weaker spell than if we played a Sky Knight and the Sky Knight got countered. They are full Esper over there. Now I can double Skirmisher, which is actually pretty reasonable when I have Sky Knights as the follow-up to make sure that these get through. And if they spend like an Essence Scatter or Jwari Disruption on a Skirmisher, that's a really bad deal for them. Because we have the Embalm. Okay, Devour Flesh, sure. Four mana up. Let's see if they have the 2/3 Flash Flyer. Nope. Heliod honestly does not do a ton here, but it looks really scary, so I'm tempted to just lead with Heliod and get it countered and then have room for the Sky Knights to resolve and get the kill. When our opponent's at 12... I mean, Heliod gives us inevitability. If I have this on board against a control deck, I've got the perfect mana sink to where it doesn't matter if they counter everything else I do. I just keep making 2/1s. But with them at just 12, like if they counter this, play a blocker, I just Sky Knight, they can't block, put them to 8. Sky Knight, they can't block, they're dead. My instincts tell me to get Heliod countered here, but there's a big part of me that's also like, I mean, if this resolves against a control deck, like they're never getting through all the 2/1s. So let's just make sure Heliod resolves. Like if I Sky Knight and then they went like Mountain Gates Ablaze, that'd be an absolute nightmare. Make sure to not play any card draw spells because they got that Notion Thief down. Let's get ready for their next counter. No. Like nothing in hand, they're down to 2. Alright, bad hand is bad, I guess, and we are 2-1 heading into game number 4. Alright, here we are on the play for game 4. Start with Cloudfin Raptor, and any creatures we draw into will evolve that. Get some damage rolling in. I don't actually have a 3-drop here, because Illusory Angel, I have to cast another spell on the same turn, so I'm just going to hold up Disruption here and play the tap land turn 3. Disrupt whatever they do. Evolving Wild for another white source so we can start making clerics off of Heliod. That is a super prime target for a counterspell. And I'm not the kind of deck that gets to just hold up mana every single turn. When I draw good threats, I'm going to have to cast them. So just get the counterspells out of the way while we've got the time. And the mana up. I suppose Heliod does make it a lot easier to just hold up a counterspell. Because I hold up the counterspell, and if they don't cast anything, just make the 2/1. There's the consider to go with the Illusory Angel, though, so I'm going to do that. I think it's a 4/4. Let's mill that. Oh, Sky Knight. Pretty cool, but make sure I get the Angel down in a turn that I've cast my cheap spell. Leaf Crown Dryad, make that a 6/6 draw card. It's also got Reach, that's pretty important, unless they attack, and then basically a 6/6. Cool. Can't hold up Scatter here, and Sky Knight. Do I need to detain Rhino right now? When I take 6, go to 8 life, that's plenty. I could just make a Cleric and still evolve the Raptor. And then I'm holding Scatter up. I'm going to do that. I hit for 1 less point of damage right now, but now I just scatter anything good, make a Cleric otherwise, and then I can Sky Knight next turn if they hold up a blocker. Oath of Chandra. Then it doesn't even matter if I evolve the Raptor, it's still low enough toughness to die. 3 toughness, take 3 damage. Disgusting. Really nice hand. All the tricks to go with the Rhino. Dryad plus the punch. Send it in, take 8. The Rimrock Knight too. Jesus. How far one copy of our bounce spell would have gone this game? It's actually insane. Our bounce spell is a sorcery, but if they had to spend a turn recasting that for 4 mana, that would have been so good. To blow up the Leaf Crown Dryad? So awkward. I'm dead to so many tricks here. I'm at 4 life facing a 4 power trampler. Ooh. Just getting soloed by 1 Gnarlback Rhino. Yeah, I don't think this is a horrible matchup for our deck on average. We have some spells that work really well here, like our bounce spells. We just didn't draw them here. I die to a 1/1 flyer in my blue-white flyers deck. Can't do this to me, Arena. Oh. I don't know what the Pilgrim's Eye was about. Got out of this sooner. But hey. 2-2 heading into game 5. Here we are now for game 5. Our opponent's on a green deck. I again don't have a 3-drop to hold up. I would like the untapped land turn 4 pretty badly though, so let's actually start getting tap lands out of the way. Disruption that. This is going to be the one main time I have Disruption up. Consider... I've got an excellent 6-drop now. I'll actually draw that land since I hit Linvala. That would have been a mill if it weren't for Linvala, though. Ooh, Jund. Here comes the mountain. An ultimate price the angel. Okay, I've got all the mana I need for Linvala. This might be dumb, but I'm going to lead with Heliod, so there's a chance my opponent plays 2 creatures this turn. If they do play 2 creatures, I get my 3/3 flyer off Linvala. If I play Thunderclap Wyvern here, there's no way I'm getting the extra creature off of Linvala. But they could go like 2-drop creature, 3-drop creature. Nope. Yeah, still a 5/5 flying vigilant gain 5. Just run that out. And we've got really good instants now too, though. Basilica Screecher. Don't really have the mana to do what I would love to do, which is both of these flyers. You know what is really nice about Basilica Screechers? It's going to make it easier for us to potentially Disruption something, because they might be spending a mana on Extort. Oh, they don't have enough black mana to do that here, sadly. Dang it. If they had triple black, we might have gotten them to Extort that and then be tapped out of Disruption, which would have been nasty. Detain the demon. Send in the flyers, the Vigilant Indestructible as well. Oh, it's not Vigilant. Well, still Indestructible. Still send it in. It's weird. Other creatures you control have Vigilance, not Heliod. I guess they figured a Indestructible Vigilance creature would be a little too annoying. Surprised we did the thing. We actually have an active Heliod on this board attacking, which is pretty sweet. Oof. They extorted this spell, so I actually get to disruption that. Goes to our turn, and I believe they're dead. We'll see. I guess not quite. They go to 2 here. What are they delving to this? Just the Basilica Shrieker? No lifelink, just a 4/4 flyer. They've only got 2 mana up after this. This is probably just worth the counter. Alright, there's the concession from our opponent, and we are 3-2 now. At least a 50-50 run here. Alright, here we are for game 6. This is a mono-white hand in terms of the mana base, but I have 3 blue spells in it I can't cast. Really need to hit the right lands here. I'm going to take the mulligan on that one. This is much better. 4 mana no matter what. At least 1 of each color. Keep this. I guess I just keep 3 mana. Because these are like our 2 strongest cards in the deck. Let's consider turn 1. Cloudfin Raptor from our opponent. Find a Plains, draw that. Draw Thunderclap Wyvern. If they cast something really scary, we can Disruption it this turn, and if they don't, we play this tapped on turn 3, and then untap land turn 4 into a spell. Alright, cool. Tomebound Lich, hello there. Found out if they've got the counterspell for the Wyvern. Could have run out the Heliod, but Heliod doesn't impact the board at all by himself, and I think that's pretty important to do right now. I could also just cast the Wyvern while they're tapped out. There's a little bit of an argument for that, but then I don't get to try to eat the Raptor here. I feel like this is fine. Like, if they end up countering or killing the Wyvern, then that's just more likely for the Linvala to get the trigger. We can probably get to the Linvala mana because I'm drawing another card off Gust of Wind soon enough. They've got a 1 blue mana spell? Uh-oh. The only thing I can think of is Consider and Quicken. Those are both just a draw spell. Nom nom nom. Maybe they have Mizium Skin? In which case my Wyvern is still trading into a card, or still eating one of their cards for free. We just eat the Mizium Skin. And then the Wyvern doesn't die still. Well, that turn looked really good for me. If I top deck an untapped land, then next turn is also going to be incredible. Gust of Wind into the Illusory Angel. If I don't top deck an untapped land, I might want to just play Heliod. Okay, well. We know what we're doing. They'll get the enter trigger on the Tomebound Lich, but they'll have to recast it for 3 instead of just 2 that the Butler would do. Mizium Skin on a Gust of Wind would be fine. Be somewhat bold and surprising to me. But they do Mizium Skin it. It is going to play pretty well for them, because I do need to draw into the 6th land, and that did counter my card draw. Possessed Scab. There's a bunch in their graveyard. They've milled some cards with Undead Butler, drawn and discard with Tomebound Lich, so I'm not even going to guesstimate. We'll just see what they pick up. Archaeomancer. And then that'll pick up a spell, sure. Sky Knight is the draw. It's better than Heliod here. Walk down their lifelink for a turn. Jam. There's the Archaeologist. Mills 3, picks up a Treasure Cruise. That's really good here. They've got 9 cards engraved. 1 mana, draw 3. Ancestral Recall in the building. Massive work from Philology Archaeologist there. Got a Scab Spectre Treasure Cruise engraved. Left over after the delve. Take 4. Now if I have Linvala mana off the top, I gain a bunch. I do not. Cloudfin Raptor, Heliod, Vigilant Swing. They're at 2 life. GG from opponent. And the concession, that is 4-2. We have officially gotten to a positive win rate here, winning more games than losing today. And that's the break-even point on gyms as well. Feels good. Nice little Cloudfin Raptor start this game. We've got the Gust of Wind ready turn 2, even if I don't get to evolve the Raptor at all. 2 mana Gust of Wind is always sweet. It's not so sweet on an Archaeologist. Something with a great enter effect like that. Especially when it failed on their first turn. Ooh, my leg is asleep and I'm so uncomfortable. Stop tingling. Stop awakening like this. Oh god. My leg fell asleep and then I moved it a little bit and now it's just... Oh. I don't enjoy that. I do enjoy that draw, but a bunch of open blue mana, I'd rather just hold up my own counterspell for now. Especially because I've got the instant speed Wyvern next turn to really easily hold up a counterspell turn after this. Cool. Scatter that. Boom. Wyvern at sorcery speed, they can't counter it, and I get the evolve off of the Wyvern and the Sky Knight this way. If I play the Sky Knight first and then the Wyvern later, then the Wyvern won't evolve the Raptor. It's Murmuring Mystic while we're tapped out. Gust of Wind that and still play the Sky Knight. Pretty exceptional. They've got a Mizium skin or something though, it looks like. Because they've got a 1 blue mana card. Yep. They could just have 1 mana, surveil 1, draw 1. But I feel if they had that, they would have probably done it already. Well, no, because you get the bluff like a Mizium skin or something. Can Kabir take down for 3? That doesn't really do anything here. It's Mizium skin. It's Mizium skin. If the Consider were in their hand last turn, they would have just considered. If that was the only 1 mana blue instant they had, they would have done that in our end step. That's pretty nasty. Alright, get the Mizium skin out of the way now. This is an insane turn for our opponent here if they do have the skin. They did not have the skin. Okay. Surprising. My hope there was that was a bluff attack, and then I was going to just keep the Sky Knight around and get them to spend skin when we go for the Kabir takedown. Ew. Super cheap treasure cruise. God, I just get left with a bajillion cards after all that. And they can replay a Heartpiercer Manticore from grave too. Scatter is something, and if I don't scatter, then I have Solemnity Vision. We scatter that. There's a Gear Crafter. It's all gas. Somebody hit the brakes, please. 1 card in your hand. Not a counterspell. Let's go. Let's go. I should have ordered that the other way. But I never figure out how to order triggers right on Arena. It's so easy in paper because you just say, well, I want Cloudfin Raptor's ability to resolve second. So I want Linval's ability to resolve, making the 3/3 flyer, and then Raptor's ability to resolve, because then it goes evolve off this, evolve off that. Oh, Heartpiercer Manticore. And throw a Cloudfin Raptor at a 3/3, I guess. They are not going to sack anything. Well, Shelter is weaker revealed, but still pretty good. They have to chump here. I can, like, Shelter for lethal next turn. That's not true. Because if I Shelter blue next turn, they can chump with the artifact creature still. Down to 12. Another Gear Crafter. It's very good. More chumps. Nimbus Naiad. It's not bad. Can have 2 5-power flyers attack in, then I only have 1 blocker up. If I only have 1 blocker up. Well, if 2 5-power flyers attack and I kill 2 of their creatures no matter what. So let's say I kill the small ones. If I just kill the 2 small ones, they crack back for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Exact lethal if they just go chump chump. I mean, I would still have 1 blocker up, so that 1 blocker goes there. Right, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I survive with 1 life. We'll see how bad I am at math. Watch me just get lethal on the crackback. But I definitely did the math wrong the second time. Because I was counting the flyers as if they didn't just chump with them. I think. Okay, so yeah, if they chump with those 2, then attack back with everybody, and I block the 3/4. They hit me for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. No, I did it right. It's 11 damage on the crackback. The 3/4 blocks the 3/4. I take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. If they top deck removal, I Shelter my blocker. If they don't top deck removal, I Shelter an attacker next turn and kill them. If they top deck a burn spell that can shoot my face, then we cry. If they had a combat trick that could kill me, they would have attacked with literally everybody here, so I'm just going to block somebody that doesn't get Raptor killed. That's pretty horrible for me. The 2 Gear Crafters in a row. They have to go chump chump. They don't have to block this, even if I surprise Wyvern. They take 4, go to 1, and then kill me on the crackback. If I get them to go chump chump, and then I Wyvern, I have 2 blockers up. They don't have this or this. I can block that, and I can block that, and I take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I die on the crackback with 2 blockers up. Kill, kill. Block, block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I attack with one creature, kill just that. Block, block, block. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't survive off of any attacks here. I am surprised they cast that there. They're 1 mana off from shooting me in the face for 10. Yeah, they just could have just kickered this next turn if they top deck a basic and I'm dead. Oh my god. I guess they were trying to go for immediate lethal, but they knew I had the shelter. I guess if I only had 3 blockers, it wouldn't be lethal. So the fact that they didn't know about the Wyvern is like super, super rough for them there. And Wyvern is just particularly absurd against that specifically. Okay, once again, I literally can't attack. Because if I attack with one creature, I kill that. 3 blockers up. Block, block, block. Take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess this would have saved me from the fight with fire if that wasn't a land. Land, creature. Just a 1/4 on the ground. Now if I attack, chump, 4 blockers, block, 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 take 1, 2, 3, 4, survive at 1 life. Unless they have double removal to where they can get through a Sejiri shelter. If they chump with the artifact creature, they have 1 turn to kill me, or else the Sejiri shelter is lethal again because I get to pro-blue attack. They find a consider. Cast the consider. Treasure Cruise. Oh boy. 1 mana Treasure Cruise. This is really not good. Swift Spear. Wait, Swift Spear does it because they were 1 damage off from killing me. Oh my god, dude. What an absolute sequence of draws. Yeah, Jesus Christ, man. That's how the cookie crumbles. Yeah, there's not too much to say there. We just lost the top deck war super bad. The 2 gear crafters in a row was rough. And then our opponent just went max gamble that last turn with like no cards in hand. They go, okay, chump with the artifact creature. I have to top deck into the kill right now. And then they top decked into Archaeologists consider Treasure Cruise kill. Uh, Rough ending, but what can you do about that? 4-3, it is here. That's a solid run. It's an average little run here. Pretty much leaving with our whole entry fee back. This deck was pretty strong. Certainly could have been a little stronger, like if these skirmishers were some of those 2-mana 2/1 flyers instead. But we didn't really see a lot of the great cheap flyers in our draft pod. Didn't see the 2-mana stuff there. If I were a little less glued to Heliod and a little deeper on blue earlier, I might have been able to have like double Cloudfin Raptor and been a little stronger on the flyer front. But overall, I still think this deck is quite powerful. It just didn't quite line up into the 5-win run here. Our losses, that last loss was just some really rough draws in the top deck war. I mean, we didn't draw terribly. Our opponent just drew really well. And it's possible, because the game was pretty close, that there was some line I missed somewhere that could have gotten extra damage in, but we just couldn't shelter through those artifact creatures. And we just constantly were dead on the crackback if we went for it, which was particularly rough. Our loss against that Gnarlback Rhino thing, like if we just drew a Gust of Wind, if we had a Gust of Wind in the opener, I think we would win that game, because that slows down their removal spells long enough to get a lot more damage in with the flyers and be at a considerably higher life total there. And obviously also like a well-timed Essence Scatter might have worked for us there. So that also felt like a winnable matchup, maybe in like best of 3, but that particular game did not line up well for us. And I have the short-term memory of an elephant or whatever that has a bad memory. A goldfish. I have the short-term memory of a goldfish, so I don't remember our first loss. But those two, I think, was mostly variance. Maybe I missed something somewhere in the gameplay, but I don't think they were because of some massive issue with the deck. Of course, the biggest issue in the deck is the lack of interaction, but we do still have the temporary interaction from Gust of Winds, and Gust of Winds into these 3 counter spells works pretty well as well. Actually, these 5 counter spells, but we can't really Gust of Wind into a disruption. Because if we're bouncing something back to their hand, they had the mana to play it the previous turn, so they'll probably just play a basic and then they can afford the disruption. But yeah, overall, really solid deck. I don't think the losses were too much of the deck's fault here. So we are 4-3 for today's draft, but that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.